Here are some words of Chaucer's about linguistic change. Yet know ik that in form of speech is Chaunge within 1,000 year, and wordes tho that hadden pries, nu wonder niece and strange us thinketh them, and yet they spake 'em so. Chaucer's lines from Troilus and Cressida both assert and illustrate the principle of linguistic change. The sounds, the forms, and the vocabulary of the English language have changed so much over the centuries that Old English may seem like a foreign language, closer to German than English. Yet, although the culture has totally changed, much in the language has remained the same. Continuity and change can best be appreciated by hearing and seeing surviving examples of poetry and prose from many periods. Let us begin our historical survey of English speech sounds and writing symbols with the story of Caedmon, which appears in the Venerable Bede's Ecclesiastical History of the English People, which Bede completed about the year 731, and which was translated into West Saxon by someone in King Alfred's court about the year 900. We shall read a text, then, which is made into Old English from Bede's Latin text of a good many years before. And Bede, in turn, was talking about an event that happened about the year 680. He describes how a lay brother of the monastery, named Caedmon, who was illiterate and had never been known to make poetry or to sing poetry before, was suddenly able, after a miraculous dream, to make English verse out of Scripture. The monks would read him from the Old and the New Testament, and he would make the sweetest and most beautiful English poetry out of it. But that was after he had a dream conversation with a figure who told him that he was able to make poetry, to sing, and Caedmon had to be convinced. In Caedmon's dialogue with the figure in the dream, we hear for the first time in our historical records the rhythms of colloquial English speech. The figure says, "Caedmon, sing me something." And Caedmon says, "But I don't know how to sing," and so on. This is the way it sounds in King Alfred's English of about the year 900. Was he se man in d world hadde je setted, otha tida da he was je livdre ilde, and nefre nanny leith je learnede. And he for thon oft in je beershippe, thon at there was blissa in tinga je damid, that he alle schulden thuch in de birdnesse be harpan singen, thonne he je sach the harpan hin nealekan, thonne arras he for shame from them simle, and ham ede to his huse. Tha he that sumre tidre didde, that he forlate that hus des ubiershippes, and ut was gangende to nite shippene, thar a herd him was there nichte bebeden. Tha he thought there in je limpliche tide his limu on reste je sette, and on slepte, tha stod him some man at thuch sweven, and hinne halete, and grete, and hinne be his namen nemde. Caedmon, sing me what to go. Tha answarde he and queth, ne kan ich nacht singen, and ich fothon of the some je beershippe ut ede, and hidde je wat, fothon ich nacht singen ne kude. Eft he queth, saith he, with hinne sprechende was, whethre thu macht me singen? Tha queth he, what shall ich singen? Queth he, sing me frumschaft. Tha he thas ansvara anfeng, tha gan he sona singen, in herrenesse godes skippendes, the verse and the word that he nefre je hirde, there in de birdnesse this is. Nu schulan herjan heaven reaches ward, Methodis machte, and his mord je thank. Werk, wulderfader, sve he wundre je wes, eiched richten, or a stalde. He is chop elda barnum heaven till rove, halig scheppen. Tha middenjard man kynnis ward, eche drichten aftertede, virum foldu, Freya allmächtig. Tha ras he from them slepe, and all tha he slepende sang, faste in je minde hefde. And them wordum sona many word in that ilche je met, Goda wirthes songes to je thede. Beowulf is the only surviving secular heroic epic poem in Old English. It was probably composed during the first half of the 8th century, but its tales of Scandinavians go back to an earlier age when the Germanic tribes dominated the continent of Europe. The common heritage of these tribes is exemplified by the poem's alliterative verse form, its formulaic phrases, its riddling expressions, which we call kennings. A swan road is, for example, the sea or the ocean, and in its highly inflected language. Another thing you'll notice is that alliterative verse is highly formalized in its word order, so that sometimes the word order seems to us very artificial, and at other times, as in line 11, that was god kynning, that was a good king, it seems very close indeed to the modern English norm. What we gardena in jer dagum theod kynninga thrym je frugnon, hutha edelinges ellen fremedon. Oft shield chafing shadana thratum, manium meithum medosetlofteach, exoda erla, sittan erist warth feerschaft funden. Heithas frovrie bad, wax under worknum, werth mindum thach, orth that him whilch im besittendra, over ronrada hiran shoulder, gumban yildan, that was god kynning. Them ever was after kenned young in yardum, von a god senda folka to frovre, firen thar vonjat, die drugon aldor lese, lange hvile. Him thes lief Freya, wuldres waldend, world åre for jaff. Beowulf was breme, blade wide sprang, skildes ävre skedelandum in. Swashel jong a gode jo wirtjan, fromum feagiftum an fader barme, that hin on ilde, eft je wonien will je sidas, thon a wee komme, lede je lasten. Lof dedum shall, in meithe je ware, man je theon. Him tha shild je wat, to je shap wheele felle roar feran on frean ware. He hinne that baron to brimmes farthe, sways je sithas. Swa he self abed, thenden wordum weld, winne shildinga. Lef landfrumme lange achte. There at heathe stod, ringed stevna, easy and utfus ethelinges fair. Aledon tha levna theden, bega brittan an barm shippes, merne bemaste. There was madma fella, of fair wegum fratwe jeladet. Ne hirdich kimlikor chel je jirwan, hilde wepnum, and halwedum, billum and birnum. Him on barma lei madma menio, the him midsholdon, on flodes echt, fair je witan. Na las he hin a lassan lacum teodon, therd je streonum, thon thadidon, the hin et frumschafte forth on sendon, ane over uthe, umbor wesende. Thaieti him a setton seien gildene, her over hervod, leton holmberan, javon on garsedge, him was jomer seva, murnende mod, men kunnon sedjan to såde, säle redende, härleth under hervonen, wa them last on veng. Alfred's preface to Pope Gregory's Pastoral Care. King Alfred of Wessex played an important role in fostering the development of Old English prose during the 9th century. Under his auspices, many manuscripts were copied into the West Saxon dialect, which functioned as a kind of written standard. Bede's Ecclesiastical History of the English People was translated from Latin into English, and a national version of the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle was compiled for the first time. Alfred himself translated various Latin works into English so that freeborn youths could read them in their native language. In the preface to Pope Gregory's Pastoral Care, the king expresses his concern for the decline of learning in England and discusses his ambitious educational program. As you read the text or listen to it, you'll notice a difference between the formal royal syntax of the opening and the more relaxed sentence structure, a more colloquial kind of English, as the royal educator gets excited talking about his reforms. You'll notice, too, some rhetorical devices standard in Old English, which are no longer thought proper in modern English. Alfred is very fond, for example, of the double negatives. An example of King Alfred's use of the double negative appears in the sentence, "And ich wene that a nocht mania beyond on humbra naren," which would be in modern English very literally, "and I think that there weren't not many beyond the humber neither." King Alfred's preface to Pope Gregory's Pastoral Care. Alfred Kinning hatteth greatan, his wordum lovliche and freundliche, and they kuthan hatte, that may come switha oft on your mind, welche wutan jo weran, jond angelkin, either je god kundra hadde, je world kundra. And who je seliliche tide tha weran jong angelkin, and who tha kendingas, tho thona andwald have done thas volkes, goda and his errand rekum hirsumedon. And who he either je hira sibbe, je hira siddo, je hira anwald, innan bordes je hildon, and ek ut hira ödel rymdon. And who him tha speo either je mid wie, je mid wisdom. And ek tha god kundon hadas, hu gjerna hi weran, either je im belara, je im lernunga, and im alle tha theodomas, the hi goda don sjoldon. And who man utan bordes wisdom and lara hidderon land sochte, and who we he nu sjoldon uta bieton, if we he habban sjoldon. Swa kleine he was oth fallen nu on angelkynne, that a swede fairwa whereon behynnon humbra, the hero thinunga kuthan understanden on English. Oth a forthum an erindurit of ledina on English aretjan. And ich wene that nocht monia beyond on humbra neren. Swa fairwa hero whereon, that ich forthum anna anlepne na mejetentjan besudan temmese, tha ich storiche feng. Goda allmichtigum si thank, that away nu annia onstal habbath larreoa. Fortham ich they bebede, that thu do swa ich je lieve that thu wille, that thu theith is a world thinga to them je emptie, swa thu oftost meie, that thu thona wisdom, that they God salde, there thu hinne befestan meie, befeste. Ye think, welch wittu us tha bekomman forth is a world. Tha way hit no whether na selva na luvedon, na eg othrum monum no livdon. Thona naman anna we havdon, that away Christina waron, and switha fairwa tha fairwas. Da ich tha this aljamunde, da jamunde ich eg, who ich je sa, tham te hit alle for hergod were and for berned, who that chirurgeon yond al angelkin stod on mathma and boka je filda, and eg mitchell menu goddess therewa, and tha switha little ferma thara boka wiston. For them te he, hier nanwucht on jitton na machton. For them te he naron on hira eigen je theda aritine. Swelche he quedin, ura ildran, that tha stoa hildon, he loved on wisdom, and thuch thona he bejaton wellan, and us levdon. Her mon me yit sion hira swath, ac we him nu kunnon after spirian, for tham we habath no ether for Latin, yet on a wellan, yet on a wisdom. For tham that we noldon to therum spora mid ura moda on luton. Da ich da this aljamunde, da wundere it switha, thara godena wittina, the you were on yond angelkin, and da bech befullen alra ye learnod havdon, that he hira the nana dale noldon on hira ayen you theode wendon. Ac, ich da sona eft meselvum andwirde and queth, he na wendon, that the afra men sholdon swar retchelesa werthon, and solar swa oth fallan. For thera wilninga he hit for Leighton, and woldon that her thamara wisdom and landa were, thiwe ma ye theode coodon. Thajemundich, who se was arrest on Ebresh ye theode funden, and eft, tha he krekes ye learnedon, tha windon he on hira ayen ye theode alle, and alle othra bech. And eft leiden were swasama, sitten he ye learnedon, he wendan alle thuch wiese walstodas, on hira ayen ye theode. And alle othra Christina theode sumna dale hira on hira agen ye theode wendon. For thee methinks better, if you swa thinks, that we summa bech, that a need bethirvesta sien allum mandum to witten, that we tha on that ye theode wenden, that we alle ye knawen mein. And ye don swa we switha the magan mid goddess fultema, if with a stillness a habath. That a all se joguth, the nu is on angelkinne, freer amon. Thar that a speda haben, that he tham befelen mein, sien to learning of faste, that wheele the he to nanra othra noten a mein, oth on a first, that he well kunnen English yerit a reden. Lærer man sithan fother on leden, ye theode, Gath a man fother lærer an wille, and to heeren hadde don wille. Da ich da jemunda huselar leden ye theodes thisum othfallen was jond angelkin, and theach man jakuthan English yerit a reden, da angan ich an jemang othrum mislitchum and manifaldum biscum thisis kinerichus. Tha book wendan on English, there is genemned on Latin pastoralis, and on English hear the book, whilum word be word, whilum anjit of anjite, swa ich he learned at Playmund minum archbishope, and at Assyria minum bishope, and at Grimbalde minum massapreste, and at Johanne minum massapreste. Sithan ich he tha ye learned havde, swa ich he forstod, and swa ich he anjit fulikost aretjan machte, ich he on English a wende, and erchum bishop stola on minum niche wilde anna on sendan, and an elchre bith an astel, se bith an 50 mankasa. An ich bebeerde on goddess noman, that non man donna astel from their bech na doa, na tha bok from the minstre. Uncouth who longe there swa ye lerede bishopes sien, swa nu god thunk, well where sin don. For thee, Ich wolde that he alne at their store wären, butan se bishop he mid him habban wilde, other he where to lana see, other wha othra berita.